Coming up tonight on YCN News, Claremont High Schoolers protest the resignation of a popular substitute teacher. Democratic Representative Peter Welch of Vermont and Republican Representative Peter King of New York lead 137 House colleagues to ask for continued heating funding. And the West Lebanon Feed and Supply talks about the maple sugaring process. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening, and welcome to this Monday edition of YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. About a dozen Claremont High School students marched outside the school this morning, upset that a popular long-serving substitute teacher chose to resign from the district rather than take down her Facebook page. Carol T. Barge, called Mrs. T by students, stays in touch online with current and past students and some parents via the social media site. This goes against school policy, as SAU 6 Superintendent Middleton McGoodwin notes. She has taught in area school districts for the last 3 decades. McGoodwin sent a letter to YCN News explaining the circumstances behind T. Barge's dismissal. McGoodwin instructed all school personnel, including high school principal Frank Sprague and Claremont School District Union Representative Don Lavalette, to refer media inquiries to him. Here is the content of McGoodwin's letter today, which includes comment from Carol T. Barge. Principal Frank Sprague asked Mrs. T last week to delete Claremont students' names and photos posted on her Facebook. She would not comply. After Principal Sprague's meeting with Mrs. T, I met with her. I wanted to persuade her to reconsider and delete the names of Claremont students. After our conversation, she posted the following statement on her Facebook page in the evening of April 3, 2014. Tomorrow will be my last day at Stevens High. I was given an ultimatum to either delete every student from my Facebook and do not post pictures of them, they've always loved this, or to be terminated. Those of you who know me and my philosophy in life, that of marching to the beat of my own drummer, would assume I would choose the latter of the two choices. And I did. The reason for this post, which I so sadly write tonight, is to avoid any rumors to the contrary and explain why this is happening to the parents and students who are inboxing and calling my home tonight. I have blocked many students due to inappropriate language or posters, derogatory remarks about one another, and they have asked for a second chance. And I do this, and some immediately clean up their act. Those who do not, blocked. It has been a sad day for me, not the way I planned to end a career of 35 years, 32 schools K through 12. The students have loved my site. I have loved to share pictures of the cats, my grandchildren's achievements, and the wisdom I have gained throughout my journey. I have brought posters here that uplift one's spirit and always considered my site and messages those of character building. I have never once written here anything against a teacher, the administration, or a student. If this was so, by all means, I should not be allowed the privilege of having students on my site. I will continue to stay in touch with all of them here. No man or institution will dictate my relationships here or otherwise that are within the range of my own consciousness. This is not rebellion. It is standing up for my beliefs, for silence and compliance is agreement. McGoodwin continues in his letter. I met with 25 SHS students last Friday after school to review this matter after many had read this Facebook message. I plan to continue my conversation with SHS students tomorrow after school, as there is a good amount of misinformation about this matter. This matter of friending students was originally brought to the SHS administration's attention by a SHS staff member. I have had many conversations with Mrs. T since I was appointed in 2011, and though I think she is a nice person, I cannot ignore our policy because of who she is. We live in a very challenging time because communicating with others is so easy. However, the ease of communicating has also become dangerous at times due to anonymity. It's a welcome sight to see spring flowers poking up from the soil. Soon, winter will be behind us, though some people may be catching up on home heating bills. With that thought in mind, and another winter just 8 months away, a member of the Vermont congressional delegation continues to work with fellow legislators to keep people warm. Democratic Representative Peter Welch of Vermont and Republican Representative Peter King of New York are leading 137 House colleagues to ask for continued heating funding. The Low-Income Heating Energy Assistance Program, or LIHEAP, pays the heating bills of American residents who need help making financial ends meet. Welch, King, and other congressmen sent a letter to the House Appropriations Committee today asking that $4.7 billion be earmarked for fiscal year 2015. Democrats and Republicans alike are signing the letter to the committee, which oversees the national budget. In recent years, says Welch and King in a statement, LIHEAP funding has been cut by 30%. Having money to heat one's home or apartment is crucial, especially after this year's long winter. A strong LIHEAP program helps the people served by Congress be able to stay warm and pay for other needs such as food and medicine, the letter reads. The economy continues to rebound, yet many families and individuals, including senior citizens, need help paying for oil, propane, kerosene, or natural gas. This winter in Vermont, for example, the state received $18.3 million in federal LIHEAP money. At the state level, an extra $9.7 million was allocated. Nearly 28,000 Vermont households received heating assistance. Money to pay home heating bills goes to the utility company or property owner. Vermonters seeking home heating assistance may visit the Department of Children and Families website. When YCN News returns, we'll continue with more news.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. The 2014 maple sugaring season may be off to a slow start, but it is underway. The last several days of cold nights and warm days have proven the right combination to get maple trees flowing with sap. Governor Peter Shumlin recently took a turn collecting sap in a bucket at the Trapp Family Lodge Sugar House in Stowe, Vermont. Sugar making from maple syrup is a part of the Trapp Family Lodge tradition, Shumlin says. Maple sugaring is a key part of the state's agritourism industry, agrees Vermont Agriculture Secretary Chuck Ross. Vermont leads the nation in maple sugar production, and New Hampshire plays a strong role too. Along with new types of taps that protect the tree's health and yield more sap for boiling into syrup, other innovations are helping boost maple syrup production. A recent visit to the West Lab Feed and Supply, not far from the Vermont border, show this. Standing outside the store, Frank Perron talks about maple sugaring process.
The sap boils starts out at 212 degrees and keeps getting hotter, and when it becomes maple syrup, it'll be 219 degrees is the temperature. And so that's why the hot dogs taste good, because they get cooked a little hotter than a regular boiled water one, and they get the maple flavor in them too. So.
A barrel stove evaporator is one way to boil the sap. Sap that is extremely hot yet tasty to cook hot dogs in, as shown here. Maple syrup on pancakes, waffles, and now infused in hot dogs. When YCN News returns, we'll hear from Kearsarge Chronicles' Lynn Solomon, who spoke with Lauren Coron from Purina Foods.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. Now Matt McDonald will have a look at our weather for the next 5 days, and he'll take a look at some local college sports.
Thanks, Rose. Tomorrow we're expecting some rain showers with a high of 59 degrees and lows in the 30s. Wednesday we'll have highs in the 40s with a low of 27 degrees. Thursday should be sunny with temperatures rising to a high of 64 degrees and lows in the 40s. Friday will bring more rain with highs in the upper 50s and lows in the mid-30s. Saturday will be cloudy with a high of 63 degrees with lows in the 30s. We could see some rain ahead for the northeastern and national radar maps. Now let's see what's coming up on our community calendar. Tomorrow, Canaan, New Hampshire will be holding its select board meeting at 6 p.m. Newport will be holding their first deliberative session at the Opera House at 6 p.m. Tuesday night. Wednesday evening, Grantham and Wilmette, New Hampshire are holding Board of Selectmen's meetings at 5 p.m. Remember, you can submit local events from your community by sending them to news@ycnnow.com. Let's turn to college sports now and look at a UNH women's lacrosse game that happened over the weekend. This game saw the Wildcats facing UMBC, featuring a great win from UNH. The final score was 8-2. Strong players included Molly Gafey and Kaylee Hinkle, who were high scorers. Gafey made 4 goals and Hinkle made 3 goals. This win brings the Wildcats' lifetime wins against UMBC to 12 and 1 loss. Tuesday, Dartmouth College will travel to Hartford, Connecticut for a men's lacrosse game starting at 4 p.m. The results from Saturday's Colby Sawyer College women's lacrosse game just came in. Colby Sawyer fell to Thomas with the final score 13-10. This loss decreases their record, which now stands at 2 wins and 6 losses. There were 2 UVM lacrosse games that happened over this weekend, both in men's and women's teams. Unfortunately, UVM was defeated twice. The men's lacrosse game saw UVM clashing with Stony Brook, New York. Stony Brook just edged Vermont by a few points, leading to their victory over Vermont 10-7. The UVM women's team hosted Albany and had a similar fate, with Albany overtaking them. The final score was 15-7. The New Hampshire Fisher Cats played a few more games with Trenton over the weekend. The Cats won 2 games and lost 2 games against their opponent. On Friday, they made a 7-3 win. Fisher Cats player Kevin Nolan made 2 runs for the team. Saturday's game left the Fisher Cats trailing by 1 point in a 6-5 victory for Trenton. On Sunday, the Fisher Cats were defeated more harshly in a 5-11 loss. The Fisher Cats will play 3 games with Reading tonight, Tuesday, and Wednesday. They will play their first home game on Thursday against Binghamton. Ski season is almost over, but there is still time left to enjoy the slopes at Mount Sunapee. The mountain held its Slush Cup event over the weekend. Marketing Director Bruce McCloy tells us about why ski season isn't over.
No, here we are at the 16th Slush Cup. It was snowing this morning, but as you can see on the mountain behind me, we have more snow than we've had in a long time in April. And we're going to be open till April 13th, so we still have another whole week and another weekend to go. We're excited about the Slush Cup today. We're hoping the sun's going to come out this afternoon and warm it up. We've got 36-degree temperature water in the pond. We've got 157 people trying to make it across the pond today on skis or snowboards. So ski season is definitely not over. You can probably tell that by looking out your window. But we're going to be skiing here till April 13th, and we'll have some late season ticket pricing going into effect next week. So we get a nice sunny day. We heard the skiing this week was phenomenal when the sun was out and the temperatures were in the 40s. So don't put those skis and snowboards away yet. We'll be open till the 13th. Thanks.
Thanks, Bruce. Try to get out on the slopes one more time this season.
Thanks, Matt. When YCN News continues, we'll hear from Capital Connections' John O'Connor, who spoke with Van McLeod, New Hampshire Commissioner from Cultural Resources.
The YCN News continues in a moment.